could tell you that I had a bad childhood and I could blame all my past sins and wrongdoings on that, but in fact, I'd be lying to you. I actually had a pretty good one. I had a good home, a good education, and I lived the life of an ordinary boy. I was raised by a Christian mom and a Christian family, and I was your church kid. The only thing is, I never really believed in any of that God stuff. And like every other kid, I grew up and became a teenager. I was what you might call a rebellious one. I started mixing in with the wrong crowd, hanging out with people who were a bad influence. But the funny thing is, the more I hung out with them, the more I wanted to be like them. We used to steal pears and throw them at the pigs. And we didn't steal the pears because we were hungry or wanted pears and needed them. We stole them for the thrill of it, the thrill of the sin, and doing it with friends. It wasn't just stealing. I was stuck in a whole pit of sin, especially sexual sin. If I wasn't working, I was with a woman. And when that relationship was over, I was on to another relationship. My relationships didn't really mean anything. They were just, how can I find pleasure in this world any way possible? My average day was like, go to work, come home, and be with a woman. Most of the time, sex. As a young adult, I had everything. I had the fame, money, I was smart, and most of all, I had the woman. I had what some people might call the life. But I still wasn't happy because I didn't have Christ. I was searching in the wrong places. I was looking for worldly things to bring me happiness. And about this time in my life, I joined a group called the Manichaeans. The Manichaeans believed that meat was evil and fruit was good. As a novice, I had to pick the fruit for the elders because the elders thought it a sin to pick their own fruit. This time, my mom received a vision from God that I would once become a Christian. My mom told me this, and being the proud and arrogant man I was, I laughed at her and told her to keep on dreaming. At the time, I promised myself I would never become a Christian. During my time with the Manichaeans, one of my closest friends died. I was stricken with grief and beside myself. I saw death everywhere and was miserable for quite some time. I was more upset that I might one day lose my life than I was upset that my friend had died. I had a good chance to listen to one of the most influential Manichaeans. I went, and I found that the more I listened to him, the more I found things wrong with the Manichaean religion. Now I wasn't sure what to believe, but I knew I wouldn't believe in Christianity. So I went to philosophy, specifically the academics, to try to find truth. During all this religion stuff, I didn't just stop sinning. I was still sinning left and right, again and again. I got engaged, but I had to wait 2 years. And I just couldn't wait. I had a mistress that I loved, and I kicked her out, and she left me with a child. And I was another mistress, and then another one, and another one. I just couldn't stop. After all of that, the engagement was called off. After that really bad time, I started to look for the truth. A little bit in God and a little bit in the scriptures. But I was confused about a whole bunch of things. Like what evil was. Why is there evil? Why is there evil if God created the world and God is perfect? I studied God more and more, but I was not fully there yet because I still had too much pride. I needed to know who Jesus was and what he did for me. I studied more and I now understood who God was and who Jesus was, but I couldn't fully submit to him because of woman and sexual sin. I prayed, give me chastity and continence, but not yet. And this man named Pontius came to me and told me a story. There were these two men who were state officials and took a walk. They stumbled upon a house and they decided to enter it. Inside they found a Bible. They decided to read it, not being Christians, and they read it and were changed. They gave up their sinful ways and turned to Christ. When I heard this, I went out to my garden and just broke down in tears. I couldn't believe that two men who were sinful could change and become Christians so easily. While I was weeping, I heard this little voice saying, take it and read it, take it and read it, take it and read it. First I was like, what the heck is this? This is annoying. And then I realized it was telling me to read the Bible. So I went back inside and opened the Bible to Romans 13:13 and 14. Not in reveling and drunkenness, not in lust and wantonness, not in quarrels and rivalries. Rather, arm yourselves with the Lord Jesus Christ. spend no more thought on nature and nature's appetites. At that moment, I gave myself to Christ and wanted to follow Christ the rest of my life. I got baptized and became a Christian. I was a thief, I was a drunk, I was an adulterer, I was a liar, but that didn't matter because Christ loved me and gave himself up for me, and all I had to do was want to be with him. I am Augustine, and I am second.